Hey everybody, we are going live with Ashlin Hadden. Just waiting for her to log in right now. And also, I hope we have sound. We've had some technical problems. I'm sorry to be right in the camera and right in your face. Hopefully this is going to go smoothly today. Let's see, we get Ashlin on here. Show,
Hi.
Let's see.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Ashlin, I'm going to put you on my phone, so I'm not sure whether the audience can hear you or not. Hold on one second. Pick up your phone.
Hi.
All right, I can hear you on the phone. We're not sure if the webinar software is working.
Audio from both.
You got Ashlin on live? You got me on live? We could hang up the stupid cell phone.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, Ashlin, the audience can hear us. I can't hear you though. So
But you can hear me.
This is really going to be a problem. Sean, our internet guy, come back in here, please.
I can just run the show.
We're on live. I need you to come in here, please. Hold on a second.
All right.
Sean, I can't have an interview if I can't hear Ashlin. All right, so first I'm just going to do the introduction. Why Ashlin is going to bust my balls for having technical problems. I have to be able to hear Ashlin for us to be able to talk. Okay, Ashlin, even though I can't hear you, hold on a second. Now I'm not on here. All right. Okay, now, Ashlin, do me a favor. While we are resolving some of the technical issues, the audience can hear you, but your face is really, really bright. The lighting on you is just like tremendous.
Okay.
First of all, this is our first semi-working live interview, okay? So that's why Ashlin has agreed to be my guinea pig. And Ashlin, tell the audience a bit about yourself, what you do, and why you are the #1 e-commerce insurance person on our planet.
Yeah. So a little bit about me. I started in the banking industry several years ago, and was a branch manager in banking, and decided that I was sick and tired of the banking world and wanted to get a little bit out of that and move into the insurance world. So about 4 years ago, I signed up with a large organization and kind of learned the ins and outs of the insurance. And then about 15 months or so ago, decided to jump out on my own, opened up my own agency. From a little bit of help from a couple of my clients who really kind of had my back, and decided that this was something that I wanted to do. Some of you might know the name Chris Wilkie. He was one of my personal clients, and he said, hey, Amazon's got this thing where we've got to have insurance, and can you help me? And I was very hesitant because I didn't really know anything about your industry, and I didn't really know anything about Amazon. So I was like, no, it's not worth my time. I really can't help. And then we kind of pushed me and said, I know I really need some help. So I spent several months looking for a carrier to insure you guys. And after I was able to get some insurance for him, he's like, oh, by the way, I have this Facebook community and there's thousands of us out here who need this. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe it's worth my time now. So the last 15 months, I really just kind of dug into your world and learned the ins and the outs of what you guys are doing and where you're at risk. And kind of my saying is I want to know what you know, but not do what you do. So I don't sell on Amazon. But I've been to 13 conferences this year. I've spoken at many conferences this year. And I really feel like I know what you guys are doing and the risks that are involved in it. So you've kind of been my redheaded stepchildren. I've kind of just embraced you and loved on you and have grown with you guys for the last 15 months or so. So that's my short story.
All right, or sometimes the bald stepchildren.
So that's what makes me the best insurance agent in this industry.
Okay, so what I want to ask you is, and I've talked about this several times, about the importance of liability insurance. And not just because sellers are required to have it, but because the protection it provides.
So in the past, we can kind of, oh, go ahead.
I have like a big delay here. So if my voice is not matching up, I apologize. So do me a favor, explain to the sellers out there the difference between indemnity coverage and the insurance carrier's obligation to defend in case there's a problem.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that people need to understand is, one, this is your business. Just because you don't have a brick and mortar doesn't mean that you don't need a policy. I get that all the time. Well, I'm an LLC. I don't need a policy because I'll just fold up shop and leave. Or, you know, I don't sell products that are that risky, so I really don't need a policy. So it's the total opposite. Just because you don't have a product that's risky or you don't have a brick and mortar doesn't mean that you can't be sued and have to defend yourself. So the biggest thing that you will ever need this policy for is just that, is to the cost to defend yourself, to hire an attorney like the beautiful one on the screen here to defend you. It's going to take more money to defend you than you probably will ever get to have to pay out in a claim. So just keep those two things separate. I mean, you're going to have to hire an attorney to defend yourself if you don't have a policy. So you might as well spend the $700 a year and get a policy.
I love being called beautiful. I think that's awesome.
So yeah, so that it's cheap, it's very inexpensive, and it's going to save you in the long run. If you can't afford $700,
this is what happens. And some of you.
Oh, if you can't spend $700 to buy a policy, can you spend $70,000 to hire an attorney?
Some of you guys know that. All right. Some of you guys know that before I really focused my entire practice on Amazon sellers, I was a trial lawyer. And if you should get sued, even if the complaint is total bullshit, even if you didn't burn down their house or the customer never got hurt, you're going to get sued by the plaintiff's lawyers. And if you have insurance, you simply pass that claim through to the insurance company and they assign lawyers to you and they're the ones that protect you. And if you have to go out in the marketplace and hire a lawyer to defend you, the initial retainer is going to be easily $5,000 to $10,000, and you're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars defending yourself. Where if you have insurance, they'll assign someone to you.
Right.
So to me, as a lawyer with prior courtroom experience, I think that's even more important because most injuries, a lot of lawsuits are started over relatively small injuries. So Ashlin, tell them a bit about where you can sell, the type of coverage you can provide.
Yeah, so right now, Amazon's requiring $1 million general liability policy. That is like the base policy to get. Again, it's, you know, liability coverage, but I can do liability, product liability. So if your product harms someone, we also focus on commercial auto. We do cargo insurance. So anything that you need to run your business or to protect your e-commerce business, that's what we're here for.
You started talking about earlier about how the costs were not so great. And I don't want this to be all about an advertisement, but I don't think sellers realize how reasonable the cost is.
Absolutely. So, I mean, as a new seller getting into this business can pick up a policy for $500, $600, $700 a year if you're just doing RA, OA, and wholesale. Now, once you start getting into the private label, then it's going to be more expensive, but it really is reasonable for the protection that you're getting. You're getting $1 million policy and a guaranteed attorney to defend you in bogus lawsuits. So one of the biggest lawsuits that I talk about all the time is this guy who ordered something on Amazon. They shipped it to the house. The guy walks out in the morning and trips over a box, sues UPS, sues Amazon, and sues the seller on Amazon. So again, just like you said, it can be a totally bogus bullshit claim. And that's what the company is here for, is to defend you and get your name dropped from that lawsuit so you're not responsible for any of the charges. And the coverage for your attorney is part of your policy.
Now, also, when it comes to suspensions, which is, mostly what we do, plans of action for non-legal suspensions and intellectual property rights, either asserting them or defending yourself, if a seller ends up suspended for not having insurance coverage, we don't know yet how that's going to play out. And this time of year, it would be much better to have that certificate of coverage in advance, because if you're getting suspended now, we know it's to clear Amazon shelves and to get rid of sellers. Right. We know this from years past. So even though it has not been a big focus of Amazon, I think it's vital to have that just in your arsenal, that if you get a notice and they ask for it, you have it. So right. If someone buys insurance from you today or tomorrow, how long does it take to bind? What is binding? And how long can they have that certificate just show that they're insured?
Yeah. So good question. So myself and my team can literally issue a policy same day if we need to. So if you get in a situation where you're like, hey, I really need this right now, as long as you're not private labeling, baby bibs from China, we could probably get it done very, very quickly. Now, your agent is responsible for the certificate of insurance. They can send that to Amazon and do all of that stuff for you. So make sure your agent knows what you're doing and rules and regulations and what has to be on that certificate of insurance. And if there's ever any questions, please, feel free to reach out to us. But it is a pretty quick turnaround. We've streamlined this very, very easily. It's a quick application process. It's super easy to take care of. So very quickly, if we have to.
Okay, now for the sellers, again, insurance companies give you two. I'm going to put my lawyer hat right back on, my old prior ambulance chasing trial lawyer hat back on. If you buy the insurance coverage and your product line should change, and I'm not telling anybody to do anything wrong or fraudulent, okay? I would never tell you to do that. But if your product line changes after you buy your policy, at least in New York, and it's probably the same around the entire country, the obligation to defend is greater than the obligation to indemnify. So if you do end up selling bibs sourced in China, and you told the insurance company, because you originally were selling, pens and paper and phone cases, and you get sued, the obligation to defend, they still may have to provide a lawyer for you, even if your product line changed after you did the initial policy.
Right.
So,
obviously,
Ashlin, how often do you think a seller is going to have to update their insurance company as to their product line?
Good question. So if you're just doing RA, OA, and wholesale, we audit it once a year. We take a look through your account, make sure you're not selling, fidget spinners with knives on the ends of them. So those we take care of once a year through an audit. Now, if you're going to be selling something very, very risky and you think to yourself, should I tell Ashlin? Yes, then tell me. If not, if you're just sticking with the same product line, then once a year is fine. Now, once you go to private label, you're considered the manufacturer of that product, even though you're not physically putting the pen and the cap together. You are considered manufacturer once you put your label on there. So if you're doing private label, then you do need to let me know if you're changing or adding some other type of product. But if you go from like one cell phone carrier to a cell phone, holder on the back, if you're staying in the same type of product category, you don't have to tell me every time you add a pink one and a black one and a green one and a yellow one and a purple one. As long as you're staying within that same time frame or that same type of product, then you don't have to tell me every time. But if you're going from a cell phone carrier to a stapler, then you got to let me know. And a simple email is fine. Hey, Ashlin, I'm looking to add this product. What do you think?
But it's only a once a year update.
Yeah. Unless you're private label.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Is there anything else you think, because I try to keep these webinars a bit short and interesting. Is there anything else that you think is on the cutting edge? I hear you might be speaking at global sources in Hong Kong.
Maybe. We'll see. We got that. Just a dime. Midwest. So hit me up. I've got coupon codes if anybody needs coupon codes for any of the summits. A great copy of it. Okay. Any of the clients that are listening,
Okay,
if you
so
just have
everyone,
a question.
Again, if you get suspended and you don't have insurance, I don't know how we're going to help you.
Go ahead.
And I want to apologize. It's not that Ashlin is rude and speaking over me. Is that we seem to have a really long delay, and I'm certainly not the rude one.
Yeah, you are.
So what I was saying, and Ashlin's going to try not to interrupt me, is that if you get suspended for not having insurance, we don't know how that's going to play out yet because it really hasn't been Amazon's focus. But I do know it'll be much faster to get you back on if you have the certificate of insurance. When it comes to liability for someone getting hurt, you need insurance to pay for their injuries and to settle it so you don't have to deal with it. And from a lawyer's perspective, having them stand behind you and having an insurance company that is required to pay for your legal defense, that is worth the entire policy itself. So you can sleep at night.
What I was going to say is any of your listeners, if you have a current policy and you don't know if you have the right policy or you have the right coverage, feel free to reach out to me. Just say, hey, I saw you on CJ's podcast. I'd really like you to take a look at it. And I won't charge you a thing. I'll take a look at it, let you know if you've got the right thing, if you've got the right coverage, or if you need more coverage or you have too much coverage. I'll let you know that. So just reach out to me. I'm sure CJ will give you my contact information, but just let me know that you are on his podcast and you want me to take a look, and I'd be glad to take a look for you.
Okay, awesome. Ashlin, if anyone has any questions, again, email me. You email me at cj@amazonsellerslawyer.com. Sellers is plural, lawyer is singular. Ashlin is going to be speaking live at Just One Dime and hopefully global sources in Hong Kong. I'm encouraging everyone. I'm also going to speak at Just One Dime. And at the same time, for a little more advanced sellers, as there is the Prosper Show. And if sellers are expanding into Australia, a huge English-speaking market, you got to hit Retail Global and use it as an excuse to go to Australia and write off the entire trip.
I'll see you down under.
If anyone would like a free copy of our book, it's the latest book on Amazon suspensions. Most important subject is how to avoid suspensions, and then also how to deal with yourself and write your own plans of action. Email me your physical address, and I will mail you a hard copy of it. Ashlin, thank you so much. Thank you for being our guinea pig on our first live webinar. And I forgive you for speaking over me from time to time.
Oh, okay. Have a good one.
Ashlin, what's your website? Bye-bye. Anyway, her website, you can just Google Ashlin Hadden. I don't have my fingertips. ASHLINHADDEN. But Ashlin Hadden, she is the #1 person selling insurance for sellers, Amazon sellers, and all sellers online. Thanks again for joining us today. Oh, one more thing. One more thing I forgot to add. One more thing. On your screen, you're going to see the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. Ashlin's calling me on the cell because I cut her off too early. In addition to selling on Amazon, practically all of us buy stuff on Amazon, including me. And if you go through the Amazon Smiles program, This charity was started by a fraternity brother of mine, a great friend of mine, and his incredibly awesome wife. They get a little bit of a donation if you buy your products through Amazon Smiles program. It's our charity that we donate to. The charity was formed out of tragedy. My buddy Lou and his wife Cindy lost their son Ty to a very aggressive form of brain cancer. And they turned that tragedy into hope by creating this incredible foundation where they raise money to focus on finding a cure for pediatric cancers. You wouldn't believe how small the percentage of money that goes towards pediatric cancers other than other diseases. So Lou and Cindy Campbell started this foundation. It is tremendous. They hold events every year, 3 or 4 events. And please, when you're buying, it doesn't cost you anything extra. Go through Amazon Smiles and please pick this charity. Again, thank you very much. And Ashlyn, I'm sorry I cut you off a bit early.